Welcome back to my channel from me and Jasper. Today's an exciting video because we're doing a massive book haul. I love making these videos, but I don't make them too often just because one, I do like to use my local library, and two, I have been trying to be better about buying books or not buying too many books because I have a lot on my shelves that I haven't read yet. With that being said, most of these books have actually been gifted to me, but there is a small portion of them that I did purchase, but I purchased them secondhand. And that's not to shame anyone who buys books brand new, because I do sometimes as well. I don't think we need to be buying every single book that we want to read because one, if you read a lot, you will run out of space, and I live in a small apartment and my cats would prefer it if we didn't run out of space. But regardless, I love getting new books, whether it's gifted, I purchased it, or it was with a brand that I was working with, because there's nothing better than a brand new book. Starting off strong, I got The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren. I have read Love in Other Words and I did really enjoy that romance. I don't tend to love romance itself, but you will see a theme here, but I was lucky enough to work with Book of the Month over on my Instagram this month. So they did send me all of their May picks and I want to share them all with you guys. So Anna is a starving artist living paycheck to paycheck, and Liam is due to earn a large sum of money from his grandfather's inheritance, but because of a clause within the inheritance, he has to be married before he can earn that money. So naturally, they strike up a deal to get married so that he can earn the money, and Anna will, I'm assuming, receive part of it. Then we have The Return of Ellie Black by Miko Jean. This one I'm actually very excited, and my excitement got reignited when I saw a review of this the other day. It's also set in Washington State, which is fun because I live in Washington. This follows a detective whose sister vanished over 20 years ago, but then she has kind of a little glimpse of hope when another girl who went missing 2 years prior, Ellie Black, is found in the woods of Washington State. Clearly, Ellie has been traumatized because she won't share what happened to her. And I'm assuming this is connected to the detective's sister's disappearance. So this one sounds like a really fun mystery set in Washington State, which honestly might make me rethink hiking this summer. Then we have Middle Tide by Sarah Crouch. This one I think is also set in Washington State, clearly, just from the cover. It is, because it says, one peaceful morning in the small Puget Sound town of Point Orchards, the lifeless body of Dr. Aaron Laundrie is found hanging from a tree on the property of a prodigal son and failed writer Elijah Lee. Okay, apparently this is a gripping, atmospheric debut novel. It's a thriller. It also takes place in Washington State. Then we have Real Americans by Rachel Kong. So this seems to be a generational novel about race, visibility, family, inheritance, trust, forgiveness, and coming home. It's a historical fiction novel. Next up, we have one that I have talked about quite a bit on my Instagram page, but that is Ministry of Time by Kayleen Bradley. This is supposed to be a sci-fi time travel romance that follows a civil servant whose job is to integrate people that are traveling from the past into the 21st century, and she is paired with a war commander from the 1800s, and she has to live with him and integrate him into the 21st century. I've heard that it's sad, and honestly, I was just drawn to this before I heard any other reviews from the premise. I don't read a lot of sci-fi. I also love a time travel romance. I haven't really read any aside from The Time Traveler's Wife when I was in middle school, but this sounds so interesting and I have no idea what to expect from it, so I'm really excited to dive in. And then we have 5 Broken Blades by Mai Portland. I'm excited about this, but I'm also skeptical because I've been on a huge fantasy kick as of recently because I'm reading Kingdom of Ash and I want to find other fantasy series to continue my excitement for fantasy, because I've only read Sarah J. Maas and a couple other, but nothing crazy, not a crazy amount of fantasy. And this one piqued my interest a little bit, but I've also heard not great things about it. So if you've read 5 Broken Blades and you have thoughts, leave them in the comments. But essentially, this is about 5 of the most dangerous liars suddenly summoned to kill some sort of god, and none of them get along, but they're all meant to murder this god. The explanation sounds a little weird, but maybe it's gonna be good. Only one can take the crown, it says. Let the best liar win. I don't know. Is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be weird? 5 Broken Blades is a dark adventure fantasy full of deadly liars, gray morals. As such, the story includes elements that might not be suitable for all readers. Violence, blood, death, including the death of parents, children, incarcerated people, and animals. See, that's where I draw the line. Brutally murder a person in a book, in a movie, fine. Touch an animal? because the other day I was at the movie theater and they were showing the trailer for the new Quiet Place movie, and I will not ever, under any circumstances, watch that. You know why? In the trailer, they show the main character. She is carrying her cats through the city. When the things come down, they're attacking. The next clip, where's the cat? What happened to the cat? I won't watch it because only bad things can come to the cat in that sort of setting. And I don't even want to think about that. I would never. We would never. So anyway, let's continue reading the trigger warnings. Poisoning, substance abuse, alcohol, sexual activity, animal abuse. Why is that necessary? Gender-based violence, sex work, suicidal ideation, and indentured servitude are depicted. Rape, assault, and graphic genocide are described. Readers who may be sensitive to these elements, please take note and prepare to play for the crown. Let's move along. This is a book haul video, not a book review video. Next up, we have a stack of books that I have purchased myself, one that was gifted. So because of a book you will see in a bit, I became obsessed with the concept or the genre of cozy mysteries. And I was like, okay, where can I get more of this? And I was recommended In the Company of Witches by Orly Wallace. This has been described as Gilmore Girls with witches and murder. Sounds like my cup of tea. I'm a mood reader. You know, you never know what you're gonna be in the mood for. I thought I was in the mood for this. I wasn't. I haven't even started it, but I'm excited to start it. I just feel like I should wait until autumn to read it. Because I mean, look at it. Cat, witches. This is meant to be read in October. And come back, see me read this in October because the vibes will be vibing. Also, I love the little toad on the spine. I also bought Days at the Murasaki Bookshop, which I've already read because it was just a short, cute, sweet, just such a heartwarming book. If you want a really short, feel-good book, I highly recommend picking this up. This follows our 25-year-old main character. Her boyfriend just broke up with her. She lost her job. She is forced to move into the Murasaki Bookshop, which is owned by her uncle, and in Tokyo. And it's just this adorable moment or reprieve in her life where she is at her lowest point, but her uncle and the Murasaki Bookshop heal her in a way. And it's just, I don't know, it's such a charming little book and I recommend it to anybody. Continuing on with the cozy mystery theme, I did pick up the Thursday Murder Club. I'm so excited to read this because it's supposed to be, well, one, it's a series. Two, I've heard it's slower paced because it's more about the characters than necessarily the mystery, which I love. I love a character-driven story. And it is about a bunch of seniors in an old folks home that solve a mystery. And I'm just excited for the character dynamics and hopefully the coziness of this book. I don't know. But then I also picked up People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. This is the final Emily Henry book. Cat hair everywhere. This is the final Emily Henry book that I have to read, and then I'll be like all of the people who have read all of her books and have to wait for her to publish something else. This is also people's least favorite Emily Henry, but I'm not too worried because I don't think she could do that much wrong. You know, like maybe it'll be my least favorite, but it'll still be good, you know? And also it's perfect for summer. I also picked up Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I don't know, apologies. I am actually currently reading this book. It's on pause because I'm also reading Kingdom of Ash, and that is taking up all of my mental and emotional mind and space. Basically, you're just following our main character, Emily. She is a professor. She researches the fairies. She goes on a trip to Norway, which I love and would love to travel to Norway in a year or two. Anyway, this is not about my travel plans. And it's slower pace. It's definitely cozy. Her colleague, Bamblebee, ends up coming with her, and he's just kind of like this weird, quirky character who may also be a fairy, but I don't know yet. I think the writing's pretty and the setting and the ambiance. There's not a whole lot happening, but it is giving cozy fantasy and I like it. Then I also bought Diary of the Void by Emi Yagi. I'm really excited to read this. This is about a woman who works in an office place and she decides to pretend that she is pregnant so she can get out of some tasks that she'd rather not do. So she doesn't have to serve people coffee. She doesn't have to work overtime. Basically, she gets the treatment of being pregnant without actually being pregnant. But as you can guess, as time goes on, things go a little bit too far. before. Then I also got Jade City by Fonda Lee. The backstory on this was also a gift, but the backstory on this is that I was looking for other fantasy series to dive into after I finished Kingdom of Ash. One, because I just want to read more fantasy. I haven't read a lot of fantasy, and it's just a genre that I really have been enjoying lately. And I know that when I finish Kingdom of Ash, it could devastate me. So I wanted to queue up some fantasy series to read to get me out of that. And I'd heard good things about Jade City. Essentially, this is about the Greenbone warriors who use magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend their island from foreign invasion. Apparently there was a big war, but now the war is over and a new generation vies for control of Kaykon's bustling capital city. 4 siblings of the powerful Powell family must prepare for battle. I'm really trusting the TikTokers with this one because these books are so highly rated that I'm like, okay, let's see if I like other fantasy aside from Sarah J. Maas. Fantasy Metropolis, so gritty and well imagined that you'll forget you're reading a book. I like books that make me forget I'm reading a book, even though I love reading books. Also, if you have like your most favorite fantasy series ever that will help cure me after reading Kingdom of Ash, please leave them in the comments. Thank you in advance. The last section of this video is some books that I received gifted from Aardvark Book Club because over on my Instagram, I did work with them as well. And let me preface this by saying, I love both Aardvark Book Club and Book of the Month for different reasons. So yes, I did work for both of them or with both of them. And this video is not sponsored by either of them, but my Instagram posts have been sponsored by them in the past. But I use both of them. I recommend both of them. They both have different book picks every month, so it's kind of nice to have even more variety because you can skip on either one of them any month that you want. With that being said, let's dive in to the Aardvark Book Club picks for, I think they were the April picks. So luckily they sent me all of them, which I was so excited about. And I already read How to Solve Your Own Murder by Kristen Perrin, and this book was 5 stars for me. This is what got me into the cozy mystery genre in general and made me buy some of these other books. This is a dual timeline. In 1965, our character Frances is told by a fortune teller that someone is going to murder her. So she becomes obsessed with figuring out who is going to eventually murder her. And then present day, you are following her great niece as she is summoned by her great aunt Frances to come to her estate. But when she arrives, her great aunt Frances is murdered as she predicted. And so you're following these 2 timelines as it's unraveling the same mystery. And it's just so addicting, so cozy. I love the characters, I love the setting, and I do believe this is the first book in what will be a series. But this was just, I mean, epic. Like I adore this book. And maybe that's just because I haven't read a lot of cozy mystery, but it's very Knives Out, Agatha Christie coded. Like I love this. Then we have Diavola by Jennifer Thorne. This looks absolutely terrifying, I'm not gonna lie, and I feel like I'm gonna read this in like October, November, or probably October. Basically, it's about a family who goes on a family vacation, but the place they go is haunted or like something creepy is happening. I don't know much more than that. Yeah, it's like creepy haunted villa vibes, which will be so fun. Honestly, that could be a fun summery, creepy time, you know? I will say these Aardvark Book Club picks, like the matte covers are really nice and they have that great book smell. It just hits. Then we got James by Percival Everett. This is a Huckleberry Finn retelling. I'm gonna be honest, I am grateful that I have this book, but I'm probably the least drawn to this one out of all of these books that I got, but I was gifted it, so thank you, Aardvark. But the only thing that makes me question if I should actually read this is that Anne Patchett wrote a blurb on here, and I love Anne Patchett. I adore Tom Lake. It's one of my favorite books ever. So if she likes it, like perhaps I should give it a try. This one I'm actually excited to read soon. It is called A Sweet Sting of Salt by Rose Sutherland. This is a retelling of the Scottish folktale The Selkie Wife, which I personally am not familiar with, but that sounds very interesting. But essentially, also this is a signed copy from Aardvark, which I love. Basically, it seems like this is sort of like a mystery and also a sapphic romance. Laced with a slow building sense of gothic dread, Sutherland's captivating debut is an intensely beautiful experience you won't soon forget. I feel really drawn to this for some reason, and I'm excited to get to it. God, I wish there was more time in my life and in the days to read all of these books because there's just so many books to read. Okay, last and final book is Expiration Dates by Rebecca Searle. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, apologies, Rebecca. I've heard great things about this author. I haven't read any of her other work. I think she wrote In 5 Years and One Italian Summer. Yes, right on the back, which have both gotten great reviews. This one is about our main character, Daphne, who anytime she meets a guy, she receives a little slip of paper that has his name on it and the amount of time that they'll be together, until eventually one day she meets a guy and she gets the slip, but it just has his name on it and no expiration date. So you see where I'm going with this. It's short, it looks great, and if you liked watching this video, please be sure to subscribe and potentially give it a thumbs up. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!